Good evening, everybody. Hey, we are back with the Confident Autistic Live. I am the Confident Autistic, aka Chris Mitchell, and I am excited to be here with you tonight for another Thursday night that we're hanging out together. Now, last week we did not have one of these events, and that was because we did a winter listening party. And if you missed that, it was kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. Got a little bit of feedback. But I did not get all the feedback that I wanted. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about some new stuff that's coming up and some other fun stuff. And we'll be answering your questions about adult autism, late diagnosis, and or confidence building. So stay tuned for that. But let me formally and completely introduce myself to you. I am the Confident Autistic from theconfidentautistic.com. I am a late I'm an autistic adult, late diagnosed, and I'm a multi-certified life coach, in particular focusing on confidence building, who's on a mission to help you embrace autism confidently. So that's a little bit of who I am and what I am about. And like I said, we did not have one last week. We had one of these 2 weeks ago, and we usually have these on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we're back, I guess. So while I'm babbling here, feel free to put in the chat where you're from and how is your day or week going. It's been an interesting couple of weeks since last time we did one of these Confident Autistic Live events. So share what's been going on in your life, how you've been feeling, what's been going on. Love to hear it and celebrate any victories you've had during the last week. Now, as I mentioned, as I mentioned, last week we had the listening party, and it was good, but it was not as great as I was hoping to be. I want to get more feedback. I'm always looking for feedback, and this is the wrong screen. This is the screen I want. So I've started a little survey on our YouTube channel. So you go to the YouTube channel and you go to community, you will see a question asking you what day of the week would you like us to do these live Q&A sessions? Now, apparently YouTube only allows me to put in four options. So this is up there. What I'm going to be doing in the next 24 hours is I'm going to be making a Google form, a Google questionnaire that's going to ask these questions with more options and some other questions I proposed last week during our listening party to get your feedback, because I want to make this channel something for you. It's not for me, it's for you. And I need your help to know how to build out this channel in a way that's going to make it a benefit for you. So you can come over and do that that survey in our community area, or check back in the community area tomorrow, and I will have a link to a Google form where you can answer that question and others and help shape the future of the Confident Autistic YouTube channel. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's some things going on behind the scenes that are happening. We are finishing up our 90-day challenge. Let's start with that. And that ends tomorrow, which actually be 91, 92 days. And I missed a couple of days towards the end. Ran out of a little bit of steam. And I've been working on some stuff in the background that's taken away some of my time that I could be doing videos for you. So that's what's going on with that. That's why it's been kind of a strange week. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, kind of weird looking. Okay, I know why he's doing that. Anyway, never mind me. I'm just looking at something on the computer screen. So one of the things I've been working on, and we kind of mentioned in the most recent video I posted, is we now have a Patreon page. And right now it's very, very empty. I'll be honest with you. There's not much on it besides my picture and all. But there's going to be some great stuff coming to Patreon. We are not leaving YouTube. No, 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 no. YouTube is part of my business plan, what I'm going to be doing for a very long time. But Patreon's going to be an additional resource available for you. We're not going to put everything behind a paywall, okay? There's going to be a lot of great things that are still free, but there can be a few little things behind a paywall to help support my mission to empower you and other autistic adults to embrace autism confidently. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do a copy. And I'm going to put into the chat the link to our Patreon so you can check that out. There's no membership set up at this time. That's be coming in the next couple of weeks. And some great stuff is coming, and some options are going to be coming out for you, some digital products, and also be watching that. That's going to be rolling out in the month of February and March. I hope to have it fully rolled out before April, which is Autism Acceptance Month. So that will be coming up. So let's go ahead and get off this big screen. There we go. And you get to see me, fully me. I want to do that. There we go. Fully me. And I'm ready for any questions that you have. We can talk about anything autism related, anything about self-confidence, anything that's on your mind. So pop those questions in there. We could talk about your week. I could talk about mine, whatever it takes. Get the ball rolling here. You can start with where you're from. It doesn't matter. It's been kind of a hectic week here. For those that do not know me all that well, I'm not only autistic, I'm also physically disabled. I survived an incomplete spinal cord injury in 2002, which took away my ability to walk, run, or even stand on my own without the assistance of mobility aids. So, long story short, I don't have the upper body strength that I once possessed in my life. And and what that has done is I don't sit up straight on my own. I slouch a lot. So I've been leaning a lot on my left side because it's kind of the weaker side of me. And I'm left-handed, so my cell phone's on my left hip all the time. And I've been leaning over in my chair to hold my wife's hand in the evening in the living room. Well, all of this leaning has actually caused me a lot of pain in my hip and around my lower back and down my leg. That is taking me out of commission a little bit. It's getting better, but I'm still having pain. So that's what's been going on with me this week. Let's see what else has been going on. My nephew celebrated his birthday. I'm the only one in the family who remembered his birthday. Everybody else thought it was the 29th, the 30th, or the 31st. I'm the only one in the family that remembered his was on the 27th. So that's just one of the gifts that we have with attention to detail as autistic adults, that we are able to remember those kind of details. I'm kind of known as a family historian. It's kind of cool. So I mentioned to my mom, your grandson birthday was on the 27th. I told her this, I think on Tuesday the 28th. She said, I thought it was Friday. And I said, no, it was yesterday. So I had to go into Target and get a birthday card on her behalf. I believe in text. You know how much cards are nowadays? $7 for a card. Then there's 73 cents to mail it, and it's like, well, no need to mail it. He lives down the street from us. But still, it's just text messages. People get into the 21st century. Anyway, that's my little rant. So I had to do that, and he had a good birthday and all, and so that's great. So basically, been busy creating some stuff, working on a new podcast that's gonna be coming out. So so those are some of the things that are going on. Let me check what's going on our YouTube chat here. Do you get mental fatigue from processing strong emotions and or social situations? How do you recover? That's a good question. Do I get mental fatigue? Ah, I know that certain things, let me look at this again because I want to address a certain word in here. Processing strong emotions or social situations. Yes, I do have trouble with strong emotions. My problem with strong emotions is there are times I cannot even identify what the emotion is, and that just drives me batty. Drives my wife batty too. She'll ask me, what's wrong? What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? And I say, I don't know. And those three words she hates hearing from me, but I really don't know. I know I'm emotionally upset about something, but I cannot describe what that item is to her or even to myself. And let's see, what's the other part here? And social situations. I probably do in social situations. I am very much, this is going to sound weird, but I'm a very reclusive person in my personal life. My professional life, I, I I'll do appearances. I've done book signings. I don't mind doing public speaking and all. I don't mind doing a Zoom meeting and having people on there with me. But when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. I'm very reclusive. It's just me and my wife. I don't like people at my house. If you ever seen the Goldbergs, and it was in one of the latter episodes that Murray was still on the show. Unfortunate how he exited and why he exited, but we won't get into that right now. They were having a party at their house, and Murray said to his wife, "It's it's dark outside. There's people in my house. I don't like this. That's who I am. I don't do a lot of social situations." Now, since I mentioned those two, how do I recover from them? My favorite way to recover is a couple of things. One, me time. I call it me time, which is really self care. And I will retreat to a safe area, my office, which, oh, this is the other thing that happened the last couple of weeks. I'm getting ready for taxes too. That's the other thing. That's a handful to do. But I got all my papers together. I'm ready to get my taxes done. My wife and I have agreed that we're going to clean up this office and make this sensory friendly for me because there's a lot of clutter in here you cannot see on the camera. Thank God you cannot see it on the camera. It's full of clutter. Anyway, we're going to clean this up because my wife and I know she's watching, and I'm probably going to hear about this later, and it's okay. It's okay. I don't think she's going to get too mad at me. We discovered something about each other. I cannot thrive in clutter. I have to have organization, part of my autism. It turns out I learned this about my wife, and we've been married over 20 years. I just learned this in the last couple of weeks. She cannot thrive without clutter around her. That's a really interesting combination. So I still love her, and it's everything fine in our marriage, but uh, we decided in February we're going to start cleaning the office and making it sensory friendly for me. So, getting back to my answer, I like my me time. I like my self care. I want to go into an area that does not have a lot of clutter and distractions where I'm left alone. I come in here during the day and I close the door, and my wife and my mom, she shares a house with us. My mom does. And I'm left alone. I get to do what I want to do. I can listen to the music I want to hear. Like right now, I have these headphones on, right? And what you guys cannot hear, and I'm glad you can't because I did not want a YouTube violation, is I'm listening to American Top 40 from iHeartRadio, the 80s. I love the 80s music. So I would engross myself into music. 'Cause music is very therapeutic for me, especially 80s music. I'm an 80s guy. I grew up in the 80s. I graduated from high school in 1984. 80s is my music, and it really relaxes me. And what it does, it triggers warm memories from my younger years, and it helps me escape the anxiety, the mental health issues, I mean mental fatigue that I'm experiencing from today's world. So I will go into this kind of a zone where I just listen to my 80s music. I'll maybe watch some videos on YouTube. Love YouTube. Yep, I do love YouTube, and just zone out in that. And then if my fatigue or exhaustion is too much, and the music is even too much for me because I'm sensitive to noise, right? I have a playlist. I found a channel on Spotify that is a perfect playlist for people who are on the spectrum who need music that will help calm them down. And it is a beautiful. This is music designed just for people who are autistic. And what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at something on the screen. My apologies. Let's see. I'm in. I think I'll do it this way. This may work better. I'm trying to pull up the list. I can put the link in here because it's a really cool link, and I have it in other videos. But let me see if I can dig it up here. Uh, that has some really great music that relaxes me. And so I set up a command on my Amazon device, and where I say a certain sentence, and it will automatically open up Spotify and will automatically play the music that I would like to hear. And let's just see, recently played. There it is. I found it. Okay, let me see if I can link to this. And let's see, report, blah, 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 share. There we are. Um, Copy link to playlist. Okay, I'm going to put the link into the chat here. This is the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. Okay. I'm going to put the link in here, and this is a great playlist. You can get it on Spotify, even if you don't have a paid membership. Now, the problem with not having a paid membership is this. They'll play two songs. You start getting relaxed. Then a very loud commercial plays. So I got to pay for a membership eventually. Not right now, but I'm going to have to do that. So that's how I deal with, mental fatigue, mental exhaustion, feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, any of those type of situations. That's how I deal with it. I get away, give myself some me time, which is self-care. I will retreat into my office usually, and I will listen to music, watch some videos. If it gets really intense, I have a playlist on Spotify that I tune into. I've also found some videos on YouTube that has some calming, relaxing music that is made for people who are on the spectrum. And I put a playlist together of those, and I'm going to get a copy of that link to that playlist. I don't want to do play all because I don't know if I can legally do that. I don't know because oh wait, I think I can. I don't think I'm sharing my no, I'm not sharing my screen right now. So let me just pause this. Okay, what I'm going to do is this. We're not going to worry about that right now. It's in there. I'll find it. I'll put it up there later. But I do use these strategies for that. Now, when I'm experiencing this kind of mental fatigue, overstimulation, etc., when I'm not at home, I go out in public and I take with me my cell phone. Everywhere I go, I have my cell phone. I have some big blue headphones. Blue is my favorite color. Blue is a very soothing color for me. You probably notice that when you watch my videos, everything's pretty much blue. And I will have this synced up with Bluetooth, and I will listen to my 80s music, or I will listen to my relaxation music from Spotify. Either way, it doesn't matter. And I usually have my needle ball. Brain freeze for a moment. Couldn't remember the word for this, but my needle ball with me, and I usually play with it. And I take this everywhere. Now, one, it's very distorted and it's very dirty. So probably need to get a new one before, you know, I get germs on it and make myself sick. But anyway, what I do is I'm nervous about, being accused of shoplifting and having this on me when I leave the store. So when I go in the store, I always wave this where people can see it in my hand, and I sometimes will toss it in the air back and forth towards the security cameras as I enter the building. So if there's any question on my way out, I can have them go and refer to that video as I came into the store, showing them that I carried it in with me. So that's what I do to make sure I do not get accused of shoplifting. So those are the things that I do. Sometimes I will curl up with my Warmie. That's my stuffed dog named Waggles. Got him off of Amazon. Maybe I'll get a link and put it in there in a moment. And warm him up in the microwave for a moment, then hold him and pet him. When he's warmed up, it's nice and warm. He emits a lavender smell, and it's like a golden lab. And his fur is so soft to touch. And that also helps me relax during any times that I am feeling anxious. So let's go back in here, if I can get this to come up, into my, let's see, more. Let's see. Let's go live. There we go. No, that's last week's. Okay. I'm trying to go back into my chat here. This one is live? Yeah, this is live. Okay, let's go in here and let's see. And M. Vance, I'm just going to say Vance, is from Kentucky. Great. I'm from Missouri. I've been to Kentucky. Fort Knox is in Kentucky, I believe. I went there on a Boy Scout trip when I was younger. Went to Fort Knox, and no, they do not give out samples for you to take home. It's really mean. But I went there. It was kind of a fun trip. It's kind of interesting. I was in the Boy Scouts for a while, which is amazing, but I was. It was an awkward time for me. There were a lot of people around me at that time. It felt weird, uncomfortable, but I did it because I wanted to be around people and I wanted to do everything my peers were doing and all. But I did get kicked out of the Boy Scouts because one night, for some reason, they were playing kickball on a baseball field that was at a school, and I decided to ride my bike through the middle of the game, and they invited me to find some other activity to do with my life. So I've been in the Scouts, but I've been to Fort Knox. It was a wonderful trip. We took all night to get there from St. Louis. I'm originally from St. Louis. Now I live in Southwest Missouri, and it was a great trip. We spent the night in the bus, went there, and then came back in the bus. So we slept on the bus, so at least to the best of our ability. And Peekaboo is back. Yay, Peekaboo. Now, I wonder if Peekaboo remembers this because of the fact we talked about this a few months ago. Because I believe Peekaboo asked, and this is going to see if Peekaboo also has the ability for attention for detail. Okay. And I'm not trying to make you embarrass you. Okay. Just it popped in my mind. We talked about many months ago about autism and relationships. And I said that on February 13th, we would do the Confident Autistic Live and focus in on autism and relationships. And that is on my calendar. And I still remember that conversation. And we are planning for that to have that go on that night. So it's a little it's 2 weeks away. But yeah, let's plan for that. That's coming up on the 13th. So mark that down on your calendars. Tell your friends, tell your family, wake your neighbors, wake the kids, tell your neighbors, whatever Letterman used to say, because that's coming up in February 13th. Now, speaking of February, February is the month of love. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, February is the month of love, and I am toying with because I got to kind of do the research on this and map them out. But I have the concept of, and then the planning phases because I've not written the scripts and all. But I'm looking at doing a series of 4 videos, each on Mondays, about autism and romantic relationships. Now, I am happily married, so I cannot give a lot of dating advice for current ways of dating because I've been married for 20 years. And if you're like to be married for another 20 years, you don't start dating again. It's a bad idea. So, but we're going to be talking, I'm looking into doing a 4 video series on relationships. So I've not made a final commitment on that. I hope to make it in the next day or two because I would like to launch them next Monday. So assuming my side feels better, my left side, my hip feels better, I can sit in the office tomorrow and start writing these, researching them, and putting them together. So that may be coming as early as Monday. So that is one of the things that's coming up. And it's great to see you again, Peekaboo. And yeah, you do remember. Awesome. Yeah, I just checked on my phone. Awesome that you do remember that conversation. So mark that down on your calendars. I hope you had a wonderful January. It's almost over. And all. I know the holidays had to be, it's challenging for all of us. Let's be honest. Okay. Holidays are always challenging for each and every one of us. So I survived the holiday season. I see that you have missed you during the month of January, Peekaboo. But I'm glad that you're back and glad that you're able to join us. I don't know if you were here earlier in this video, but I do have up on the community tab on the YouTube channel a poll to find out what night of the week or what day of the week would be best for me to do these things live. Now, I discovered as I put the poll up tonight, YouTube only allows me to give 4 choices. So what I'm planning on doing tomorrow is creating a Google form that people can participate in to give me feedback. Because last week we had a winter listening party and got some feedback, but I want some more. So I'm going to put this together. There'll be a link to it in the community section tomorrow where you can answer those questions and others and help shape the future of this YouTube channel, The Confident Autistic. So be looking for that in the community section. And I really do want everyone's feedback on it, on some of the things I'm bringing up. And that would be on that questionnaire because this channel is not for me. This channel is for you, for every autistic adult out there. About a couple years ago, I probably have shared this in videos, but I'm going to share it briefly here. A couple years ago, my great nephew came over to our house, and at this time he was like 3 or 4 years old. and he had been diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So I started doing a lot of research into autism. So my wife and my mom, who does share a house with myself and my wife, we all three share the house, would know how to support him and help him. And while I was doing the research and observing his behaviors, I started saying, I used to do that as a child. I still do that as an adult. And that started my journey to my self discovery of autism, that I'm on the spectrum. And I went through a process with it. I first suspected, had two conversations with my primary care physician who encouraged me to get and see a counselor and get some screening and find out if my suspicions are correct. And my suspicions did turn out to be correct, but I went through the suspicion type. I went through self-identifying type, and then I had the late diagnosis. And that process is life-changing. Even though every one of us who's a late diagnosed autistic adult self-identifies as autistic or suspects they're on the spectrum, may have been or have been autistic our entire lives. Just coming to that realization, this is who we are, is can be very life changing. It can be a very maybe traumatic time in our lives. A whole entire world and what we know may be turned completely upside down. And it's a whole new world we are now acknowledging we're living in that we may not understand. So this is why I want to do videos, and I have been doing videos that breaks down a lot of things about autism. And the videos mainly are inspired not only from what people say on the channel, what I read in other groups, but my own curiosity about what autism is. And I do these videos so others who are going through any of the three phases, which is suspect they're on the spectrum, self-identify as autistic, or are late diagnosed autistic adults or pursuing a late diagnosis, can come here and say, oh, okay, now I understand why I do that. That's part of my autism. And it's okay, it's acceptable. I also want to do some videos. I've done a few, and I want to do some more. And we'll have more on my website. I'm doing some book reviews. I would like to do one a week, books about autism, because as you are going through this process of going from suspecting to potentially a late diagnosis, many of us get into this zone of, I want to know everything I can about this autism. I want to understand it. I have so many questions. And there are a lot of great books out there. And I try to read one a week to help my knowledge of it. And I want to share these books with you so you can find great resources, dependable, reliable resources that you can read and all. And there's links to them. And the links are affiliate links because I'm an Amazon affiliate, so that helps support my mission. Another thing I like to be doing on this channel that I'm working towards is maybe not weekly, but frequently, I would like to do some videos where I feature resources that are out there for late diagnosed autistics. The reason this is important to me is there's a lot of stuff out there for kids and for their parents. And there should be. The kids are our future. But we later adults need to have support and resources out there. There's not enough out there. They're hard to find. So that's one thing I'm very passionate about. I want to make this a place that you can come for that. And of course, I'm going to be launching some videos. I mean, you know me as the Confident Autistic, and we've been doing a lot of videos on autism, but I'm going to be launching some videos that talk about discovering, developing, and growing your confidence as an autistic adult. So those will be coming too. Those will probably be rolling out into February, early March. So those are some of the things that are coming up. And this is why it's important for me to get your feedback so I know how to build this channel for you. I can make the channel for myself and I will enjoy it, but it's not about me. Because I don't have an audience, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. And that's one of my stems. And I do that enough on my own. I don't need to do it any more frequently than I do. So when this link goes up tomorrow for this questionnaire on a Google form, please take the time to answer the questions. Now, when this video is, if you're watching this in delay, after it's been live. I will edit the video description and put that link in the video description. I don't have it right now, so if you're watching it live, we don't have that link yet, but I will edit it into the video description so you can also come back and check that out. So let me go back and see what's going on in the chat here. I hate it when this happens with the chat. It goes away and then it comes back. Okay, let's see. Can I do this on my phone? Check the chat. And then, I hate it when it does this. Okay. I don't know why. Okay, let me just do this. Give me one moment. I'm going to go read the screen here. It's over here. All right. I need resources. Yes, we all need resources. And that's one thing I like to build out, not only here on the channel Peekaboo, but also on my website. It's something I'm very passionate about. And we have another comment here. I'll be right with you. I got to move the mic so I can read it. So just give me a second here. Okay. After learning why I had such difficulty doing normal things, I spent a lot of time reviewing my life, seeing everything I've experienced from a new perspective. I did the same. I've done the same. When you go through this process of realizing or suspecting you're on the spectrum, self-identifying on the spectrum, etc., we often will go back and look at our lives and look at it through the lens of what we understand and know about autism. And we'll start reevaluating. And often it can help us feel better. Now, times can be scary, but it can often make us feel better. Like some of the things I did in my life, and I thought I'm such a weirdo. I'm such a freak. I'm an alien. That's the expression a lot of people in our community use. We feel like we're aliens on this planet. I look back at it through the lens of autism, and I realized, oh, I'm not an alien. That was a sign of my autism. Like talking to myself, I thought there was something wrong with me. My mom busted me when I was doing this when I was like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, I was real young and all. And she said, don't do that. That's weird. You should stop doing it. And made me feel bad about that. But none of us knew at that time that I was on the spectrum because this was early 1970s, and the understanding of autism in the 1970s is so limited to how we understand autism today. And we realize it's a spectrum. And this is my belief. Autism used to only be diagnosed for those that we would consider high support needs today. And those that had lower support needs or very little support needs, even though we were autistic, it was not identified at that. That explains a lot of my behavior issues, and because I have trouble expressing myself at times, and I just let my emotions take over. Why I still throw fits and temper tantrums and meltdowns, and my wife keep telling me I don't want you to have a meltdown. Let's talk about what's going on or whatever, because I still do that at my age of in late 50s. Let's just say that, okay? Yeah. If you watch one of my videos, you'll find out my age, or you read the about stuff, you'll find out my age. But I'm not going to mention it here. So you got to go and read the about thing on my YouTube channel to find out how old I actually am. But I do use the term. I realize this came in my mind today. I know I said in some videos here and on interviews that I'm a dinosaur, and it finally clicked with me why I use that phrase. Dinosaurs is actually there are many people in the spectrum who are very fascinated with dinosaurs. My great nephew is, and I'm not mocking anyone, but unfortunately, it has been used by Aulistics as a stereotype for autism. Yes, there are people in the spectrum that like dinosaurs that get into that, but not all of us do. And what I constantly remind myself and I remind others is everyone experiences autism differently. We all experience it differently. So, that was one thing I struggled with when I went through my self-discovery was that I thought I can't be autistic because that person who is autistic is doing something I don't do, or I'm doing something that I don't know if any other autistic person does. We all experience it differently. And that's a very important thing for each and every one of us to remember as we go through our own personal journeys from suspecting we're on the spectrum to actually being on the autism spectrum and accepting our identity, which has been a part of us all of our lives. We just are now realizing it. And like I mentioned in my analogy, or my not analogy, it was an actual story earlier, I kind of started that journey when my great nephew was around me, his family member. Uh, my brother's son's son is on the spectrum, and that helped me start seeing that in myself. That's not an uncommon way many of us adults discover we're on the spectrum. If our own child or grandchild is diagnosed, we start seeing in them some of our traits, and that makes us wonder, are we on the spectrum? And then we go through that point, depending on how we were raised and what we've heard from society, we start thinking, oh man, I'm on the spectrum. I'm autistic. This is a negative thing because of the negative connotation that our society has at times against autism. Not everybody, but there are some in our society that do. And when this does happen, it gets into our minds and we start feeling negative about ourselves. And that's one thing I want to do my best to change in the world for autistic adults is to help people realize we all embrace it differently, and autism does come with some challenges, but it also comes with some superpowers. I did a video recently where I talked about how our attention to detail is a superpower, how we can highlight that when we are job seeking, how it can benefit in us in our relationships. I can remember the first time, my first date with my wife, and I think I shared that in the video. I remember the first time she said, I love you. I remember the first time we saw each other before we even, started dating. We ran into each other at a college. I can remember all these significant dates. I remember our anniversary. I remember uh, her birthday, all these important dates that most guys don't remember this stuff. Let's be honest, we don't. Many don't. And because I'm able to remember those little details and reminder, today's the first time you said I love you to me. And that shows her I really care about her. And that builds a relationship. So that attention to detail and remembering those small, insignificant things and sharing them at the appropriate times can build a relationship and make your relationship with your significant other or friend or whomever stronger, because when you show that, it makes them understand that you really care about them. I volunteered through Big Brothers Big Sisters through the Lunch Buddy program, where I went to school once a week and had lunch for a grade school student. And he would tell me things. And the following week, I would bring them up, or even months later. And that told him I really paid attention and I really cared about him. Now he's graduated from high school. He and I are still friends. In fact, while I'm doing this live, he just sent me a text message because we still communicate to one another, because I use my attention to detail and my excellent memory that I have, probably because of my autism, to connect with him. And he knows that I authentically care about him, and it made our relationship stronger than it would have been if I did not. So there are some strengths to it. Yes, the challenges to autism, but there are some strengths. I see something else that came in on YouTube, so I'm going to see if I can get my phone to want to play with me right now and corroborate. And if not, oh wait, I have to do that. Let me try this. So let's just see. I hate, well, not hate, but anyway, let me take a look at this. I'm going to move the mic. I'll be right with you and see what came up on the screen because that's weird. Okay. I started recognizing my autistic traits by watching autistic YouTubers and then doing research. I'm the first person in my family diagnosed. Yeah, many people do find it that way. They suspect, or they don't even know they're autistic. Maybe they'll type something in like, why do I feel more comfortable with a weighted blanket on me, or something like that? And it points them to that they're on the spectrum. That's another way of doing it. That's one of the reasons I want to do this YouTube channel, because YouTube is the number 2 search engine on the internet after Google. So a lot of people start searching for stuff here on YouTube. And by having this channel with the resources on it for people who are in any of those 3 phases, suspecting, self identifying, or pursuing, received a late diagnosis of autism, they can come and find, well, not just for me, there's other creators. I'm not going to be like I'm the only one, because I know I'm not. Information about autism, and I hope they find this channel, and I hope I can be a valuable resource for them and offer things that some of the other channels do not offer. I'm not putting them down, but when you are doing a channel like this, you can't be a copycat. You got to have some unique selling points, and mine plans to be uh, providing you books and resources that can help you as a late diagnosed or an adult on the spectrum, as well as helping you discover, develop, and grow your confidence to embrace autism confidently. And I don't see anyone else doing that on the YouTube channel, and that's what I think makes the channel unique, and and that's why I do what I do. So yeah, that is a great way that you can discover that you're on the spectrum, just by going to YouTube or even a straight Google search and saying, why do I like having a weighted blanket? Why does a weighted blanket relax me? Or why do I feel anxious in a social situation? And it may point you to leading yourself down the path of autism. Now, currently thinking, and I stay away from politics. Okay, I try to stay away from news. But current thinking is that autism is hereditary. Okay. I know some people are trying to bring back the old stereotype and the old beliefs that it is because of vaccinations or some other reasons that we have all dispelled in the community, and all. But I'm sticking with the fact that we believe is hereditary at this time, until evidence, credible evidence from credible sources, changed my mind. But the point that I want to make here is, even though you are the first, and I like the way you word it, I'm the first in my family with autism, or first diagnosed with it or suspected. You may not be the only one in your family with it. It is possible that others have it and they don't realize it, or it's not even really, well, I don't want to say enough trace, but not so pronounced or so visible that anyone would notice that they are also on the spectrum. So it's possible, unless maybe you're adopted, but it is possible, I guess you can rule that out if you're adopted, that others in your family are also on the spectrum. I know the statistics show, I want to say around 2% of Americans are on the spectrum. I think that's a little bit low, because I think there's a lot of people on the spectrum that are my age or a little bit younger that were not diagnosed earlier because the criteria was so narrow when we were children. So I think that number may be even higher than that. Not significantly, but I would not be surprised if it's a little bit higher than what we know. And of course, being diagnosed with autism, it has to be done by a professional. And I believe I talked about this in my recent video, or somewhere I have. Anyway, that some of the tests that are done, there's not that many people who do screen adults for autism. Okay, let's start there. And some of the tests that they use are biased, and some of the tests that they use are for children. I've heard of people who are adults who are given tests as if they were a 3 or 4 year old child, and these things need to be changed. And of course, there's how do I say this? There's some belief, and I'm not an expert on this, but I'm just going to say what I've heard, that is underrepresented in marginalized groups, for whatever reasons, because the stereotype is more of a diagnosis for Caucasian or white males that are in middle income or upper income, because the process to get screened is expensive, not covered by all insurances, et cetera, et cetera. So because of these factors, I do think the prevalence of autism is higher than what we are told. But that's just my opinion. Do not take that as a fact. That's just my interpretation. Others could disagree with me. You could disagree with me. That's fine with me. But that's just my opinion, and I wanted to share that with everyone. Now, let's take a look at something here. I am off camera. Well, on camera, but off. It is 43 after the hour. And I'm going to do my last call for any comments or questions you'd like to share in this chat. Otherwise, we're wrapping it up and uh, getting back to our evenings because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And a selfish reason, I like to get back and spend some time with my wife because I love my wife. I love being around my wife. So, this is our last call for any questions or comments that you have. And then I'm going to make a couple of little brief announcements and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. I do want to thank everyone for being here. I put it on my personal Facebook page. I did not put it on my business one or my public page or anything. But I got to ask you all this question. Does anyone still have their Christmas decorations up? In particular, your lights on your house. My neighbor across the street still has his lights up and on. Christmas was was over 5 weeks ago. Excuse me. It's over 5 weeks ago. And every night I look outside my office window and I can see his Christmas lights still on. So I'm just wondering, is he the only one who still has the lights on, or does anyone else have the lights on? Have you seen anyone still with their Christmas lights on? Now, in a way, it kind of bothers me because Christmas is over, time to move on. Part of my own, let's get on the same page here. But another way, it's kind of peaceful and mindful. In fact, my neighbors across the street and to the right of me have the lights on. Straight across, they still have their Christmas wreath on their door. Now we took down our Christmas stuff. Let's see, what was it? Not the first weekend, the second weekend of January. The first weekend we were going to, it was just way too cold and we had a snowstorm, so we had to wait a week. But we got all of ours taken down by the middle of the month. But we still see people with the lights up. So if you know of anyone who has the lights up, and I don't want to publicly shame them, but just saying, it's almost February. Time to take it down or change it to red and pink for Valentine's Day. One of the two. Do something creative like that. Okay, since we're not getting anything in the chat area right now, let me just go ahead and try a few things without blowing up anything. And I'm going to go back to here. I don't need that. Bada boom. We're going to share. Okay, well, now we got my share screen back up. This is our my presentation, and I want to go. There we go. So remember, I have a new Patreon that's up. I'm going to put that link back into the chat for anyone who may have missed it. It should be there if you joined in late anyway. But what the heck, let's go ahead and do that again. And there's not much on there right now, but there's going to be some great, cool stuff coming. And I just want to mention that because I'm starting to roll that out in the videos, mentioning it. So it's there. And don't forget, if you go to the YouTube channel and you click on the community tab, I have a little survey that's going on there for what day of the week is the best day for us to do this Q&A live stream, because of the fact that during the listening party last week, we heard our numbers are okay for this. I would like to see them be better. Okay. So, like I said, the channel's for you. So I need to know what night of the week you would like to have this on. So we have it there. But because YouTube will only let me put 4 options in there, I am going to put together a Google form that's going to have this question and some other questions I had from the watch party, and put a link to it in the community tab tomorrow. And when it's ready, I will go into the video description for this video and put a link to it. And I really do want your feedback on this. So, anyone have any great, exciting plans coming up for this weekend? My plan this weekend is I got an appointment with my accountant on Monday to do my taxes. I got to do I've done all my other reports, got all the papers I need. I just need to do the business reports of how much money the business made last year and how much money the business spent, so we can get that into the accountant. So I'm doing tax prep this weekend. That sounds like fun, but it's okay because I usually get a return, so it's a good thing. But what exciting plans do you have for the first part of February? And Groundhog Day is coming up. What are you hoping for? Are you hoping that the groundhog does or does not see his shadow? You know what? I already do that. It's just a fun question on the community area. Let's see if I could do that. Let's see. Okay, let's do this. Poll, text poll. All right. What do you want the groundhog to see this year? Okay. His shadow, shadow, no shadow. All right, here we go. Now we're going to post this and make it live. There we go. There's a fun little poll there. Okay, we just did that together live. That's amazing. So, yeah, a little fun poll there. So, I'm going to stall for a moment here because I know that we're in a delay. So, I'm going to wait until I see on my screen what I just did. So, I know that I'm not cutting you off early. But we're going to wrap this up. We'll be back next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. And we're going to continue doing these on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time through the month of February. And then during the month of February, I'm going to get people feedback, their input, and we may move it to another night of the week. But I'll let you know by the end of February. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight and joining me on this live Q&A live stream. Q&A live stream. Live Q&A. That's redundant. Live Q&A live stream. It's just a Q&A live stream. You don't want to be redundant. It drives me up a wall, and I take things literally. It had nothing to do with being redundant, but I just wanted to throw that in there for you. So, again, I want to thank you for joining me tonight for this live stream. Uh-oh. There we go. I should be off of share screen right now. Am I? Okay, I think I am. Yes, I am. Okay, so thank you so very much for joining me this week for the Confident Autistic Live. We'll be back next week at the same time. So again, thank you so very much for. Oh, we do have a comment in here in YouTube. I'm sorry, I got so many things going on in front of me right now. I'm losing my mind. So let me check that comment, figure out what that is. Oh, thanks for the live stream. Well, thank you for attending. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. So again, it's been fun hanging out with you. We'll be back next Thursday night for another live stream here. So again, have a wonderful weekend. Have a great start to February. Stay positive and do whatever it takes for you to authentically embrace autism with confidence. See you next week.